What's my name?
Gator 17.
What's your name?
Daddykins.
What's our relation? That kind of answers it.
I'm your dad.
My daddy. What's the most funniest or embarrassing thing I've ever done?
I like to tell these stories. So there's one in which you and I were together watching The Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
And you were very small. You were probably about like 5.5, 6 years old, I think. And it came to the part in the movie to where King Triton, I think it is, has to let his daughter go. He realizes that she loves his human prince. And so she's looking at the prince longingly on the shore, and she's on a rock out in the ocean. And so King Triton touches his Triton to the water, and the magic goes across, and her lower half turns into human legs, and she realizes the sacrifice her dad has made, and she looks back and smiles and waves goodbye. And so she runs off to be with the prince. At this point, you're sitting in front of me, and you turn around and you looked at me funny, and you said, "She really loves her daddy, doesn't she?" And I said, "Yes, she does." And you got this funny look on your face, and you jumped up and you came running towards me, and I threw up my arms, and you went, "I can see the movie in your glasses." I was like, "Ah! You're out of my will, kid."
What was your first reaction to Kate making YouTube videos, and did your view of it change over time?
Well, I found out about it. I don't know if your mom told me or what. I said, "You got to check this out." And so I had to look, and you were making these videos on your desktop at home with a tiny little camera that was clipped onto there. That's great, and I wonder if I could help out. So I purchased a digital video camera from you from the British eBay and had it sent to your address. And it was like just a few days later, you put out the Lana Craft video.
Yeah.
And I was amazed at it. I thought it was awesome. And so I've seen you from that point just grow and take off and have all this creativity and express yourself, and watched your audience grow and how they love you for showing who you are. And so my impression has been that you've always been wonderful. So my impression of you hasn't changed, but I'd love to see how everyone else has kind of come over to my court and recognized you too.
Aww. If you could describe Kate in one word, what would that word be?
Amazing. I've often said, people will ask me, parents get talking and things, and they'll say, "Well, how about your children? How many kids do you have?" And I'll say, "I have one." And they're like, "One child?" And that's kind of unusual. Usually people have 2 or 3. And I said, "Well, I hit perfection and I stopped."
Was Kate naughty or nice as a kid?
She was nice, but she was super smart, and her mom clued me into this one. We'd be sitting there watching TV or doing something, and Kathleen was old enough to be wandering around on her own doing things, and suddenly she'd be like, "It's too quiet." And I said, "Go have a look." And I look around, and you were obviously into mischief. There was one time I remember that we were doing something, or I was busy with a project or something. It was my time to go in and do the duty, be the good dad, and do the diapers and stuff. So, okay, so I went in there, did the quick change, and you were in your crib. And so I went back out to the front room. We're sitting down, and you'd gotten quiet. And your mom this time just got up. She went and had a look. She went, "Lyle, would you come here for a moment?"
Oh, no.
Like, okay. So I walked towards the back, and so I was heading towards the bedroom, and something was wrong. I walked in there, and I had left the little Vaseline thing too close to the crib, and you'd gotten a hold of it, and that's why you were quiet, because you were covered in it, and it was all like on your face and your eyes, and you're like this, trying to look through the Vaseline. It was smeared all over the walls, all over the sheets, and your mom looked at you and said, "Have fun."
Oh my god! Was she a mischievous child? We kind of covered that in the last one bit.
Mm-hmm. I think just more curious than anything, because she was a very bright young kid.
Past tense was.
Well, now you're a bright young adult.
Aww.
You were always exploring things. So mischievous, yeah, that's when you get quiet, because you knew that probably if you were going to get discovered and you wouldn't be allowed to explore the things you want to explore. So yeah, you learn to be quiet. That's when we knew you were being mischievous.
Oh my god. Do you want to know something funny?
Sure.
When I got older and I was up to something, I learned to make noise.
Oh.
Because I found out I was getting caught because I was being quiet.
Oh, very clever. I didn't know that.
I'd leave music on in one room and then go to the other room and do my
You future parents bear that in mind.
Yeah.
Sometimes the kids outthink you.
What was your daughter's most silliest moment?
The most silliest moment. Oh, good, another story. When we we're living in England. We didn't have a lot of kids your age around. So I was kind of like the dad who played with you, and Mom was the one that when you got hurt, you'd be like, Mommy. And so we would play. And then we had friends that had kids, and we'd drive over and visit with them. So on those days, it'd be like, I'm going to get a break. I get to go to the big kids table and talk to the adults, and you're going to play with the two kids. And so we got in the house, and immediately I said, come on, Daddy. I was like, where are we going? So we're going to play with the boys. I was like, oh, okay. We walked into our room. This is around Christmas time, like now. And I said, okay, what are we playing? And you said, we're playing Santa Claus. I was like, how do we play Santa Claus? You sit down, and we're going to sit in your lap, and we're going to tell you what we want for Christmas. Like, oh, okay. So I sat down, and the boys are a little younger than you. You were always organizing the other kids. And so as soon as I sat down, you looked at the boys, you said, line up. And they both lined up like little soldiers. She went, $5, please.
What?
So that was the silliest moment. I laughed at that a long time.
I was an entrepreneur from the beginning.
That's right.
Wow. What other names did you have in mind when naming your daughter?
Well, we didn't know that you were going to be a daughter at first. It was only until after we agreed that we were going to look at the ultrasound and find out. So, how do I put this? I thought of American names, and there's some American names that just don't translate to British names. You can't use them. But there was
like Fanny.
What is it? Randy, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but we hadn't picked that name. No, it's one name. Well, actually, I had an issue because my older brother has children. And so each time I thought, well, this would be a great name. It's like he named his child. That's like, that one's gone. And so this one was gone. I was like, those were the two big ones. And so I started looking at other names. And so your mom and I were discussing that. So, well, if it's a boy, maybe like Taylor. And she's like, that's not a name, that's a trade.
Oh, gosh.
Well, yeah, I suppose so. I hadn't thought of it that way. But in America, things are a little different.
I like that name.
Yeah.
I do like that name.
But I said, with a girl, I'm not sure really. And she said, well, I've thought of something. And then she told me Kathleen Victoria. And I said, that's just beautiful. And so I said, yeah, I agree. That's just awesome. And so we were both in agreement on that. But yeah, your mom came up with that. And I said, let's go with it.
What is your favorite video of the ones that I have made?
The Lana Croft thing was, of course, very funny. But there are so many. I mean, I watch all of her videos. I really love the Hunger Games parody. It was great.
It's my favorite one.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I thought that was amazing because she showed me how she had made up a script and put together all of the details of how to shoot the video and organize it. And I think that's why it impressed me the most. Is like, she's really professional. I mean, I knew that you were very talented, but then I saw the professional side of it too. All the things she was like, wow, she's come so far.
What is your favorite gift that I have ever gotten for you? It was the Playboy Mansion, wasn't it?
I'm still holding out for that. Oh, that's kind of a tough one to say. She buys me lovely things. I'd be happy with just like a letter or a card or something personal. I love personal things. So it's kind of tough. I don't know.
You're not really a material person.
Not so much.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, not so much. But I mean, I'd have to say, and not to be corny or anything, but the biggest gift you ever given to me is your love. And because the other things are replaceable things, and you've always been very generous in what you've tried to do to express your love for me. But just the fact that I get such a great daughter, and I have a wonderful relationship with you, and I can call you up and talk to you, those are things that matter to me the most.
I know, Daddy. When did Kate develop proper Yeti hair?
Now this is something that's I've never really understood the whole Yeti thing. Yeti hair, huh? I'm not quite sure what you're referring to. I've seen the joke and the costumes and all that stuff, and I've not quite got it.
How would you feel if I told you it started as a nickname, Yeti Breast?
Yeti breast. That's still not helpful. The only thing I can say about hair is at one point you said to me, we were talking on the phone, and it used to be as like a long distance phone calls, of course, because I was in the military and stationed over here, and you guys were over here, and so we would talk on the weekends, and just we would come up with things out of the blue. And you said, Daddy, and I was like, yeah. I was like, do you have hair on your fingers? Like, well, yeah, I do. She said, thanks a lot, Daddy.
Because I was like, it was on my toes. I have hairy, like,
that is.
Why am I saying this? My big toes, I don't know. I think this is just a well-kept secret with women. We have hairy toes. And I looked at my mum's toes and I'm like, why are your toes not hairy? Dad, Daddy.
Yeah, it was me.
Yeah, great. What was our best moment together?
There's one thing I often refer to. I think for most parents it's the same as when your children are small and they think you're a god. And so they love to go with you and explore the world. And so our big thing was, when she was small, hold her hand and we'd walk around the neighborhood and we would look at flowers and look at butterflies on the flowers and things, and just insects crawling around, flying around. And to you it was all magic. You were just fascinated and you would get down and look at that. So all of those collectively were our best moments, because we were sharing them together. And the reason why it was the best moment is because you were discovering it for the first time, and I was remembering how magical it was through your eyes, seeing this and thinking that really is cool. I'd forgotten.
I'm gonna have to spit out some kids and have that experience myself, huh?
Yeah, there's nothing quite like it. However, I've seen some other people's kids.
That's true.
Strangest thing. All these things are from when she was very young, and this is a good one. She used to love to tunnel. I think it was her early Minecraft days. she would go to the kitchen and she would pull open the cabinet, and she would, just like a badger, start pulling out pots and pans.
Crash,
and
clang,
go in a
clang.
little farther and pull out a little bit more. And pretty soon it was just, you could see the toes sticking out, and then working away, and more pots and pans rattling out.